Dream. Hi, Mr. Premier. You're on. Can you let us know what's happening, please?
Thank you. Good morning to Burt News and good morning to everyone. Certainly, the good news is that Bermuda today awoke to a country that did not have any loss of life and suffered no serious damage after yesterday's storm. This morning, 70% of the persons whose power was knocked out from the storm awoke with power. And I spoke to the Belco team earlier this morning, and they are continuing their restoration efforts. They've asked that I remind persons to stay off the roads as much as possible, which is hindering restoration efforts. And they said that there are a few places where there is still some live power lines which are out on the roads, and persons need to be incredibly cautious. Yesterday, the Minister of National Security put out a statement last evening asking persons to stay off the roads until after 12 p.m. today to allow the cleanup efforts to continue. If it is not urgent, please refrain from going out, taking your traditional tours to sightsee, to survey and look at the damage. Certainly, there is some travel that's required for essential services, persons who are needed to travel to the airport for flights which may be departing, etc. But for the most part, we're encouraging people to remain off the road so that the restoration efforts can happen. Corporation of Hamilton have commenced their works clearing a significant vegetation which are on the roads in the city of Hamilton. Works and Engineering Regiment and Parks are working to make sure they can clear all the major highways, as there are still some roads where there is blockage and the traffic is restricted to only one lane. If there are a lot of cars on the road, that will restrict that. But as I said, 70% of the country is back up. 70% of the persons who lost power are back up and running, which means that 3/4 of the customers in the country are back with power. And we are looking to, Belco is working to resume or to continue that effort. And they have crews out right now. They spent last night powering up substations. And it seems that they have a lot of favor with the people of the east and west end of the island, as there are only, I think, about 37 customers without power in the entire Sands Parish. So they're doing a lot of work.
And we're just confirming, Mr. Premier, schools and government buildings are closed today.
Schools are closed today, without question. Government buildings are closed today as well. Government services will commence in earnest tomorrow. We will be making an announcement on schools after 11 o'clock's EMO meeting. Some school assessments were done yesterday. We do not see any significant damage to any schools. We're just going to confirm that they're on the priority list to receive power from Belco, and so we're working through that process. But this is a well-oiled machine, this established process. As I had said yesterday, the Minister of National Security had held an EMO meeting about, I want to say 3 weeks ago, just to make sure that we had our run through and our drill throughout the hurricane, so everyone knows what it is that they're supposed to be doing pre and post hurricane, and we are just running through those checks. But there is no signs of significant damage. There are some schools which do not have power. If they don't have power, it'll be difficult for them to open, but we're working with Belco to coordinate that, and we'll get a full briefing at our 11 o'clock EMO meeting, and we will be giving a full press conference to the country at 2 p.m.
Okay, we'll probably get that news at 2 p.m., but do we have any word on the buses yet?
Buses will resume when it's safe to do so on the roads. That notice might come at 2. We would assume that there will be no bus service until that time. We'll take a little bit of time for the buses to mobilize. We do know that ferry service is scheduled to start tomorrow on Wednesday, and I would say that bus service at the earliest will start tomorrow. But there'll be announcements that are made after we get the check-in at 11 o'clock. Right now, yesterday evening, there was a very quick assessment with the roads. The regiment crews are out right now with Works and Engineering and Parks. They collected a significant amount of debris yesterday, which had to be cleared, but the regiment crews are out, Parks crews are out, and Corporation of Hamilton crews are out to make sure that all the roadways are clear. Once we have two-way roadways clear on all bus routes, we'll be able to go ahead and get those restarted.
Okay, and we don't want to get into the politics, but can you just say when the advanced polling that is supposed to be starting tomorrow, is it? That was delayed?
Advanced polling was scheduled to commence yesterday. The parliamentary registrar has announced that advanced polling will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. and the polling locations were checked, and the parliamentary registrar has indicated to the EMO that she intends to start the advanced polling tomorrow at 8. So it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And can we just get you to confirm again? We know the good news that we had 2 babies born, which is great. And we didn't really have any major damage, or nobody seriously injured, did we, in this storm?
To this point in time, we have not had any reports of such. And so, yeah, so we did have 2 new additions to the Bermudian family, but there were no indications of serious injury and or loss of life. A few isolated incidents of ruse and some structural damage, some local coastal flooding with the 2.5-foot storm surge in some places of which we've seen. But by and large, it seems as though we've been spared major damage. Without question, that 3-hour eye wall cycle, over the country, was a sight to behold. And but it's interesting to note, as I said, about 24 or 27 hours later, most of the country has their power back on, and the services are working to get the country up and running. So I assume that all will be mostly back to normal come tomorrow, and Belco crews will continue to work to restore power where there are some damaged lines and to look to get that rectified today. But with the amazing work which they did last night, I think we'll be in good stead.
Okay, thank you so much. And before we go, Mr. Premier, do you have any final words?
I think that it's just a thank you. A thank you to everyone in Bermuda for their hard work, for everyone in Bermuda for working together, for taking care of their friends and taking care of their neighbors. There is a saying that Bermuda is the safest and best place to be in the world in case of a hurricane. Our building code is the strongest in the world. Our emergency measures team know how to manage the disasters. We work together, whether it be from the tourism sector to the international business sector, to the government sector, to the private sector, and all the way around. We understand what it is that we need to do in these times. So I think that we've demonstrated that we can ably manage these events. And so right now, it's about reminding persons to try to stay off the roads, make sure that they are letting the emergency services work, and making sure that they are looking out for their friends and neighbors, elderly or disabled, who may be without power. As it's important to make sure that we are looking in on them and taking care of them. But as I said, the emergency services have certainly done their job, and now it is up for us to continue to do our job as a community. But the good news is most people's power is back, and we're expecting that government services will open and resume fully tomorrow. We will be making an announcement on schools later. Most public transport will likely resume tomorrow, and we're going to be in a good place to demonstrate to the world that direct hits from hurricanes will not put Bermuda back for long. We're able to pick right back up and get back to work.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Premier. We appreciate your time.